we did some real-time improvisations. Like, for example, when Lauren sees Kelly for the first time, you know, I offered it up to the girls to improvise, so I had no idea how it was going to unfold. Right. So we rented a house, and that house was Lauren's house, and Lauren had left for the day, and Kelly, played by Nika, she broke into the house like Nika. She was always so cheeky. She broke into the house through the window, and she had a little mooch around in the cupboards, and it's just me and my other researcher just filming it, letting her do what she did. And she went down to the bedroom and she had a sleep. And then Lauren just came in through the front door, and she kind of seen the boots, seen the dirt on the floor, and realised that she was there. And then she kind of looked around the house, and then she walked into the room and she seen her sister sleeping. And I remember, like, she didn't know whether to hug her or kiss her, or, you know, I was like, wow, that's it. It's just like the pain of watching someone just sleeping who you thought was dead. And there was such, you know, simplicity in that. And workshop really offered me up moments like that, where if I sat and wrote it, I don't think I would have trusted the smallness of that moment. So we had a lot of powerful bonding moments during our workshop. So when it came to be on set, it was incredibly freeing because it was all in the DNA and muscle memory. Yeah. But for us, the biggest breakthrough on set was the dance scene, because we had, I think, between the three of us, we had worked so intensely for 5 years that we had like an incredible bond, and like it was just like to watch it and to share it with our crew.
Can I, while you're saying this, I'm going to show people, because there's a behind the scenes that you guys have put on YouTube of making the film, and it's such a beautiful moment, because that exact dance scene that you're talking about, like a workshop with both Nika and Nora-Jane, they're both, and it's just like, I was blown away, because I was like, oh my god, that's identical to the pub scene. And it was so nice to see that bit of footage on YouTube, because it really gave an insight into the journey of getting to the film.
Yeah. You know, because we were workshopping, we didn't necessarily have script at that stage. I was just working with energy. So we played Patti Smith's Horses. And I was just said to the girls, like, you need to match the energy of this song. You need to match the energy. And Nika, you know, she was going in, and then Nora-Jane was trying to match her. And it was like incredible, you know, and the fight for dominance, I realised that was kind of the ebb and flow of the film, and how Kelly would eventually give in to Lauren. And when they got to that place, you know, there would be something very tender and pure. So I knew I had something in that moment, and somehow it would end up in the script. I just didn't know how.
Well, listen, it's amazing to see, like, women just killing it, and all together supporting each other and just empowering each other. And you know, we talk about there's so many different topics that you have spoken about in this film that is so relevant right now. Past traumas, mental health, sisterhood, you know, having each other's bags above everything. Is there one topic that you think, God, I hope everybody gets that part of the film? It's really important that they connect with that.
I think it's about, I think more than anything, if you kind of don't deal with the past, it's going to come, and it's going to rear its ugly head, and it's going to come in a way where you might not recognize what it is, because it will have morphed into something really quite strange and difficult. So what I would say is that it's like somehow being able to talk and to process your past is actually much more healing than trying to bury it, as difficult as it is. And I think that's the big takeaway, because we can relate to that in so many different ways, whether it's, you know, at a family level, you know, secrets being buried, or at a community like Northern Ireland, or like at a country level, like where we don't want to talk about like slavery or whatever. Like, these things will mutate if we don't talk about and face it and face our ignorance. And I think that's the big takeaway from this film. And what I love about this film is that, you know, I've growing up in Portland, Northern Ireland. I was 11 when the Good Friday Agreement happened. But, you know, all the films that I've seen on the Troubles are, you know, they're male eccentric, you know, they're kind of, you know, they're IRA, guns, UVF. It's like, you know, this film is not about it's the background, it's fading, it's in the murals, but it's there. This is actually about family and bonds, and how where you are from shapes your identity no matter what. And I think that's the thing, and to see two sisters express it in a very personal way, I think it's really exciting.
The film has so many contrasts, like you have pain, but there's so much love. You have all this trauma, but then there's all this hope as well between them. And it definitely is like emotionally triggering. If you watch it and you've been through anything in your life, You're going to absolutely relate to bits in this film.
I think, I didn't realise just how much this film was about grief until I was in the middle of post-production and Nika passed away, and all of a sudden, like, I really had to face what grief was, and how grief is many things. Grief is incredibly painful, it's incredibly isolating, but the world becomes incredibly vivid as well, because everything becomes so beautiful because it could just go. And I think that's life. I think that is life. Like, when you allow yourself to feel things, you feel many things, and it can be overwhelming. And I think that's what this film is. And I think for some people it might be too much. But I hope, it reaches out to people's hearts, because I think it's incredibly personal to us. When we made it, like, I think you can see the two girls and all the cast and crew. Like, there really is sweat, blood, and tears in this film. And you just hope that it will connect to the people who it needs to connect to.
I think it will. I know I felt emotionally connected, and you mentioned Nika there, and I didn't know till after the film that she'd passed away, and oh my god, like I've even got goosebumps now talking about it. I just was like so taken aback, because the story is about her journey of staying alive and fighting and not giving up, with her sister loving her, and then sadly she passes away due to an illness. You then had to finish editing this film, Cathy, and now you're at BFI London Film Festival.
We find out that we got into Toronto on her anniversary. So,
So how do you try to celebrate, honour her in some way during these moments? Because it would have been awesome for her to have been a part of this without it just being quite sad for you.
I don't know if we've got quite there yet, if I'm being honest. And I think Nora-Jane is, not to speak on her behalf, but it's incredibly painful for us, because she's not here. And there is something about, the fact the film is going out there virtually, that, we're not sitting in an audience with an empty seat next to us. But I think in time, as we realise that this film means something to people, and we hear those connections, that I think, we'll be just so proud and grateful. And you know what? It's actually the journey, because the journey of discovering those characters and making the film with those two girls, it's like the places I went to, I felt like I went to, like, people wouldn't go in 10 lifetimes. That connection, that bond, and I feel incredibly grateful for that. So I wouldn't change anything for what happened. And she's such a beautiful soul, and I'm so glad that we've captured a part of her.
I mean, it's a journey, isn't it? Sometimes people think, God, they get here, but everyone doesn't see the bit in the middle. The years of hard work, the raising money, putting the cast together, making it happen. What advice would you give to these like filmmakers out there that want to be you one day?
I'd say be you. That's what I would say. I would say first, be you. Know what makes you tick. At least have a curiosity about what questions you have in the world. I always approach film from a place where I am confused or I don't understand something, so I go and investigate. So that's my way in. So I would say, is there anything that you are curious about, you want to understand more about yourself or your world or your community? Like, start there. And, with that earnest curiosity, you will go to places that will satisfy that itch of a storyteller in you. And then it's your perspective, and hold on to that, because your vision is the most important. There's no point emulating other people, because you're unique, and that's what's unique about you.